We knew him when he used to be just a newspaper writer. Now he's a TV guy, ESPN Packers reporter. Rob, great to have you back. Are you ready for a little drama over the next couple of weeks, months?
Dan, if it takes a sticky quarterback situation for you and I to get back together, then so be it. Bring it on.
If I said on the drama meter, give me a number between 1 and 10, where are we right now in Green Bay?
It's 8 or 9, man. It's right up there. This has been building for a while. The thing that surprised me, Dan, was that Rodgers and his people allowed it to become public, because we knew this was festering for a while. But Rodgers, as you know, is a very smart, calculated guy, never does anything without thinking it through. And his history suggested that he would keep this and make passive-aggressive type of gestures, but never really come out and go all out with what he was thinking. And in this case, he did it.
Do we know that his camp was the source of this leak on draft day to Shefty?
Well, put it this way, Dan. Why would the team want this out there, right? I mean, first of all, they don't want anyone knowing their quarterback's unhappy because they have no intention of trading it. Now, if they wanted to trade him, sure, they would put it out there. But there is no way that they don't want to go forward with Aaron Rodgers in 2021. The issue is, do they want to go forward with them beyond? So, like that said right there, that eliminates that side of the equation in terms of who put this out there. And look, for Aaron to say at the Kentucky Derby, I'm disappointed that this news came out, who is he fooling?
Well, I just wonder, were they trying to embarrass him to let everybody know that how petty he is, how petty he's being? That, as soon as I heard it, I go, okay, who leaked it and why? And, it's just like when Diana Rossini this morning said Shailene Woodley is in the meetings with the Packers front office at Aaron's home. Okay, who would leak that, Rob?
Right. Yeah, that is curious. It's a good question. But everything from what I can gather and tell, that this initially did not come from the team side.
Okay. Where do we go from here?
Yeah, well, right now, I think it's a stalemate for a couple of reasons. One, June 1st, nothing, if they're going to trade him, it's not going to happen until June 2nd. I told Greeny this morning on Get Up, just book me for June 2nd at 7:05 because that's when we can have something again concrete. Now, I'm sure we'll talk again, but like from a salary cap standpoint, if they didn't trade him before the first round of the draft where they were going to get immediate capital, it would be salary cap suicide to do it before June 1. So at this point, we've got a few weeks of posturing back and forth. But I think the Packers still truly want to try to make this work. It's interesting, Dan. I asked a highly placed team source yesterday if there's any update. And the answer was not unless you can tell me our quarterback is coming back.
Does everything go away if the Packers do fire their GM, as it's been reported that Aaron wants him out?
I don't think they're going to do it, Dan. That's just not the way they've done business forever. Right or wrong, they have never really put the quarterback above everybody else.
But do you believe that story, though, Rob, that Rodgers dislikes Brian Gutekunst that much?
I don't know whether he wants him fired, Dan, but I know that is for sure the source of his problems. And it's not just the Jordan Love pick. There's been all kinds of things. He didn't want Jordy Nelson let go when Jordy Nelson still had, good football left in him. I remember in training camp, was it last year or the year before, where it was last year, he listed off, I feel really good about my top 4 receivers, Marquez Valdez-Scantling, Alan Lazard, Devontae Adams, of course, and Jake Kummerow. The next day, they cut Jake Kummerow. He wouldn't have gone out on a limb and put Jake Kummerow in that if he thought they were going to cut him. And that, I think he felt like that undermined him. So he has forged a really good relationship with Matt LaFleur. In fact, better than I thought he would, knowing how difficult that he can be to work with and how it ended with McCarthy. Credit to him for buying into LaFleur. There's not an issue there, except maybe they should not have kicked the field goal on 4th and 8 in the NFC Championship.
You were there when Rodgers was drafted. Do you remember what Favre's react? Because it's a first-round draft pick. They didn't trade up. Rodgers fell into their lap. And and Favre wasn't playing that well back then. So that's different. Rodgers.
Right. But remember this, Dan, remember when Brett Favre famously said, it doesn't say in my contract that I have to help Aaron Rodgers get ready. And that first year, man, it was frosty. It really was. It was bad. He did everything he could to freeze him out. Now it did improve. Like you go back and look at 06 when McCarthy got in and 07 when they went to the NFC Championship game. I mean, there's plenty of plays where you see Favre come running off the field after throwing a touchdown and Rodgers is right there ready to give him the hug. So it definitely changed. Yeah. But man, at the beginning, it was frosty. To Rodgers' credit, he didn't freeze out Love. He said, he's like, look, I'm not thrilled with the pick, but it's not Jordan Love's fault.
Well, you start to look at this and you go, okay, so Rodgers, the offense is good enough for him to win the MVP. The skill position players are good enough. So the front office did a pretty good job. I think we could all be in agreement, right?
Yeah, I mean, there's the narrative that they haven't done enough, but they have the number one scoring offense. They re-signed the best left tackle in the league in David Bakhtiari. They re-signed the best, maybe the best running back in terms of touchdown production in Aaron Jones. So you say, well, they didn't do a lot in free agency. Well, those were their free agents, right? So I would agree with that premise.
But also, if I go back 5 weeks ago, and I say to John Lynch and Kyle Shanahan with the Niners, don't make that trade with Miami.
Yeah.
Get all those draft picks, and you're probably going to have to throw in a defensive starter, and you could get Aaron Rodgers.
Yeah. Well, I think
with the Niners,
they tried to get Aaron Rodgers on Thursday.
I know, but they didn't have any draft picks. Like they had the third pick overall.
Yeah.
But if I said to do you think San Francisco, if they had a chance to get Rodgers, would they have done that 5 weeks ago?
Yeah, you're probably right. They probably wouldn't have in terms of making the trade they made to get to 3. But here's the thing, Dan. Like the Packers have told everybody all along, we're not trading him. Now, when does that change? How hard of a stance is Rodgers going to take? I mean, is it June? Is it when training camp starts July 28th or whatever it is, when the season opens September 7th? When is it? That's how many times did we talk during the summer of Favre? I mean, it was like, the thing went on. Like the Packers' MO has been, don't do anything until you absolutely have to, i.e. ignore it and hope it goes away, which they found out then stuff doesn't go away.
How's Rodgers viewed locally?
Yeah, people love him because he wins. I'm not so sure he's beloved because of who he is like Brett Favre was. No, it's a different time, right, Dan? I mean, like Brett Favre was downtown on Washington Street, doing shots on the bar and, pouring drinks in everybody. It just, that can't happen now, right? I mean, it's just the social media, the camera phones, he'd be destroyed. Favre couldn't exist, but Favre was the everyman, right? Like you lived through everything with him. You grieved with him when his dad died. He cried when he talked about his pain-killing addiction. He was out front when his wife had breast cancer. Rodgers much more private, much quieter. He has opened up in recent years, has become a little bit more letting the public in, but it's just not the same in terms of the belovedness, not of the player, Dan, but of the person.
What role does Shailene Woodley play in this?
I'm not touching that one, brother. Remember Olivia Munn came after me? I'm not touching that one.
Yeah, why did she come after you?
Oh, she thought that I wrote that he was not playing well because of his relationship, which is not at all what I wrote. And she took a shot at me on Twitter, and it all went crazy from there. So I have learned I'm not touching that.
Did she call you? Did Rodgers, what is your relationship like with Rodgers?
So Rodgers, when that happened with Olivia, Rodgers called me over in the locker room the next day and say, hey, look, I understand what you wrote. I don't think it's a big deal, but she's upset about it. So next time, just keep her out of this. And he slapped me on the shoulder, walked away, and I thought it was over. And then 2 days later, she went after me on Twitter. So and then it just went. Then it was I blamed her, which was not what I did. But no, I mean, my relationship with Aaron, I would categorize as good. He and I have done he's done 2 one-on-one interviews with me in the last 4 or 5 months for stories. that were pretty, interesting. One was about his incredibly low interception number when he reached 400 touchdowns, and it was on New Year's Eve, actually. And we talked for probably a half hour while he was driving home. And in fact, he stopped to get a bottle of Dom Perignon, which I didn't even know you could buy in Green Bay. But he stopped to get a bottle of Dom on his way home and had to interrupt the call. And then we talked right before the Jeopardy stuff aired. And I would say, both times they were good. Our relationship is in a good place. He likes to call me Bob, which he knows I hate. I am Rob, not Bob. So I think there's a good relationship there. Now, am I going to call him up and he's going to tell me everything? No, that's not where our relationship's at.
Who's the quarterback for the Packers week 1, Bob?
I don't know who it is, but I don't think it's Aaron Rodgers. I think there's a less than 5% chance that it's Aaron Rodgers. Yeah. I'd say it's 50-50 that it's Jordan Love. And I say that because, Dan, this was never the plan to get him ready for 2021. It was 2022. He was the third stringer last year. Like he wasn't even active on game day. So this wasn't the plan. I think they almost have to go out and get, and I'm not saying it's this guy because he's under contract with another team, but an Andy Dalton type of player, a Joe Flacco type of player, a veteran that can come in, learn the system quickly, and help, and then bridge the gap between Rodgers and Love.
Oh, I'm envious of you. You got drama over the next couple of months. You thought you were going to have an easy summer, didn't you, Ron?
I had played more golf last summer, I think, than I had in the previous few years. There's no way I had 65 rounds last year. I'll be lucky to get half that many. I do remember you calling me and doing your show once during the fire saga from a driving range. I was hitting balls just about to go play when some news broke. So I'm fully ready for that.
Oh, Fritzy's going to reach out to you. That's for sure. It's great to reconnect with you, Rob. Happy for your success. Thanks for joining us.
You guys are the best. I love you.
That's Rob Demovsky, ESPN Packers reporter.